Hello, tribe. I'm Aspen, and I want to talk to you about cleaning house because I don't know about you, but there's stuff that I want to let go of in 2019 and not bring with me into 2020. And we all need, I think, to practice emptying out, cleaning out, letting things go. So this builds off of two videos I did before. If you haven't seen them, check them out. One is Come Back Home. It's about grounding and centering yourself and your body so you can respond to life rather than react. And the second is how to be more open and available for life, right? So you're not missing out on life. And that one really ties in well with this one for moving energy through. So here I want to talk about emptying out, cleaning house, clearing things out. So energy is meant to move through us, and we get a lot of it all day. Life is in session. But we know it doesn't always smooth right through. We hold on, we collapse, we constrict, we tighten. We're protecting ourselves. It's completely normal. Like, we are meant to survive. And so we want to close and protect ourselves from pain and uncertainty and feeling the feels we don't want to feel. The problem is that when we do that, we're also blocking all the other stuff. You know, the joy, connection, belonging, love, that stuff. And I don't want to block that, and I know you don't either. So then the practice becomes, how do I let go of the blocks that are there? Because some of those, we know, are like decades old, or however old you are. And because they're in there, other stuff has piled, right? It's the log on the river, and all the stuff that comes down gets trapped in it, and before you know it, it's a big pile. So one, how we deal with the blockages that are already there that we might not even be aware of, release those. And then two, how do we cultivate a practice and a strength and an ability of just emptying out, of letting things go, right? So that we are open for all the good stuff and we're not stuck. So how I look at this, everything comes from my truth and my personal experience. So that's where I speak from, in the hopes that it serves you and supports you. So everything is a suggestion. Everything is just based on what I have seen, felt, and witnessed work. So the way I look at this is there's deep work, and that's working on those blockages that have been there, you know, that have calcified, that have grown other things on top of them, right? That we might not even be aware of. That's deep work. That's therapy. That's group. If your unpacking of stuff is particular to a trauma or to a support group type of situation, I strongly suggest that. That can look like somatic coaching, where you're more in your body, because your body is a map of everywhere you've been. It remembers. It has to deal with everything you put into it, physically, mentally, emotionally. So I found somatic coaching to be extremely beneficial. Another type of deep work is experiential learning environments and workshops, you know, where you're kind of forced to strip away some layers. Deep work can look like a lot of things, and it depends on how you need to process pain. So I remember when I first felt what it was like to actually process pain. I came home from therapy and I laid on the floor and I wailed. I sobbed. Like, the noises I was making were I'd never heard before. It was like an animal. It was like someone else was crying, and it physically hurt my body. I was experiencing and in a place and feeling things in me, a place I had never visited, let alone felt what was there. And my boyfriend held me, and I writhed on the floor in pain, but I knew that the only way to get through it was to go through it. So why would I put myself in so much pain? Why would I do that? Well, first of all, I didn't know how freaking painful it was gonna be. But second, because I was so sick and tired of suffering, of feeling the underlying fear and terror. Brene Brown talks about shame in the swamplands of the soul. She says that we have to get to know the swampland and how it works. She says that people will be too afraid to go into the swamp. I can't, that's too painful. So they instead stand on the shore in the quicksand and slowly sink. And that is so much more painful. And I know that to be true. And so in order for me to be free, to process pain so that I could get to freedom, I had to walk into the neck-deep swamp scum that was inside of me. So that's what I mean when I'm talking about deep work. And I think that we all have stuff that we could use some deep work on. The other is the daily emptying out, creating practices that allow you to empty out and release and let go. So those, for me, once again, hoping that it helps you. So for me, that looks like emptying out, especially in the morning. So moving with my breath, movement and breath. I mean, if you think about that, that's literally moving energy. So that one is super key. And you can do it through a lot of different ways. Oftentimes for me, it's just organic. Like it's almost like therapeutic dance or therapeutic movement. Like my eyes are closed and I'm just letting my body lead. And that was one of the huge revelations I had that really helped in my healing. There's so much wisdom. Like our bodies, they do know what to do if we just get out of the freaking way and let them lead. So for me, it's a practice of always strengthening that, of letting my body do what it does and letting the heart especially do what it does and metabolize energy and release and let go. So movement and breath, huge in emptying out. Meditation, huge in emptying out. I usually either sit or walk and do a specific type of meditation. It's a HeartRise method. I'll link to it in this video. So that is about allowing your heart to open and metabolize whatever's being held there. So it literally looks like either sitting or walking, hand on the heart, breathing, plugging in to here. That took a long time to know how to do and to feel that. So patience through all of this type of work. So plugging into the heart, feeling whatever is there, whatever comes up, whatever's been held, allowing myself to really see it, feel it, and then release it. And that's a lot of breath. It's a lot of trust. Like this type of stuff, it doesn't make sense always when you're doing it. And that's hard for people to get sometimes. It doesn't make sense because it's not about the doing. It's about the process. It's about the practice. So I do that. And, sometimes there is a lot more to tend to. Sometimes it's shouting, it's screaming, it's journaling. Journaling is amazing, especially for deep work too. Like the more that you get to know your stories, your patterns, your thinking, your stuff, the more you see, the more choice that you have, the more awareness you have. So journaling. So those are all ways of emptying out, of starting to unpack things, of starting to release those blockages and bondages that are inside of us. So the question for you, friend, is what do you want to let go of? Like this is the chance to sit down, get a piece of paper, and write, how do you want to clean house? Now, what are the ways that you could start a process of your own healing? Or what are some of the things that you want to figure out how to let go of? And what would bring more freedom to you, to your being? Because that is so worth it. Like all the pain, all the stuff that you're gonna have to go through if you decide to go into the swampland, it's worth it 1,000,000 times over because of the freedom that you experience on the other side. Because Like those experiences, those things, those stuff that used to rule my life and govern everything I did or didn't do, they are faded Polaroids now. Like they are not present in my present. They are past. And like that distinction and that feeling is so much freedom. And I want you to experience that. I want everybody to be able to strengthen their ability to empty out so that you can fill up. Because this is the thing. Until you create that space and that room, there's just not space or room for anything else. So everything you want can get to come in when you make space for it. When you let go of the stuff that's stopped up and keeping the other stuff from coming in. So that's the intention and invitation. And I just thought of the Little Prince, the story of the Little Prince. The fox says to the Little Prince, if you want to tame something, you sit with it every day. So patience in this, because I think it's a lifelong process of emptying out, of dealing with our stuff, of releasing and letting go, of becoming free. So take heart, take comfort in the fact that you can do it. Like you are enough, you are worthy, you have the ability. If you want to be free, you can be free. If you want to do any of the things that I mentioned, all you have to do is start. And know that we're all in this together. Like there is a universal truth that people don't talk about. I mean, they're starting to, but know that like it's not just you. We all think that we're not enough. You know, we all struggle with our stuff, right? And it's not easy or fun to deal with it, but it is worth it. So sit down with yourself, take out that pen, take out that paper, and write, how do I want to clean house? Have a beautiful rest of your year, and I wish you all the love and support in your swampland, in your journey.